Hello, this is Dawn, and I wanted to take the opportunity to update you on what the astrology is going to be for this coming week. So today is actually July 27th. It's a Sunday, but the big focus for me are the things that we're going to feel the energy of this week. And especially on Thursday, we get the Mercury Cazimi. So I wanted to bring this to your attention because it's an absolutely wonderful opportunity for us to get amazing downloads if we are open to it. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the chart so you can see what this is going to be looking like. Yay! So let me just be able to point things out for you here. We have energies that are building up, but first let me address this 9-degree Sun Mercury Cazimi in Leo. Mercury is retrograde right now. Mercury will be heading back and will go all the way to 4 degrees of Leo before turning direct. So I believe let me just double check that date for you when Mercury goes direct. Mercury actually goes direct on August 11th, and it'll be at 4:14 degrees. So that is what we're looking at for this energy. And that's really going to be very helpful as we're going into that next week, because we have a Venus Jupiter conjunction on top of the star Sirius. So that we'll be dealing with next week. But this week, I want us to see that this Mercury Cazimi is in the sign of the sun. It's in Leo. So the downloads that can happen with this are very strong. When I looked at the degrees, that from about 8:45 that morning, or actually that would be like 9:45 Eastern time to, what did I figure out the time was? Almost like basically all day. You're going to get that energy of that Cazimi. So all day on Thursday, be aware that there might be some really great ideas that come in for you. And the reason I think that's important is because with the sun, that the creative juices are going to be flowing. This is Leo that we're talking about. This is creativity. This is being out front. This is our inner child. And I think it's a great opportunity for healing. I think that there's a lot of other things it's going to be beneficial for. I will note that on this same day that the Cazimi is happening, Venus will be at 0 degrees of Cancer. Venus and Jupiter are going to be joining up in Cancer. Jupiter is an exaltation, and actually Venus likes to be in Cancer because it's her homey place. It's where she can be comfortable. So that is going to be coming up. So the fact that we have Venus now moving into Cancer, she likes Cancer much better than she liked being in Gemini. That also gives her the energy of being in a square to Saturn and Neptune. Square energy. Really, that is not a bad energy. I know that there's other astrologers that talk about that might be a good time to sign contracts or something like that. But because, and even for long-term relationships, when you have Saturn and Venus involved in something in your chart regarding a relationship, it usually will make it a longer lasting relationship, because Saturn has that time element. And you have Neptune there with that square energy. So we also have the moon is going to be at about 3 degrees of Scorpio, right near Haumea. Hecate is at 5 degrees on that day. So this is going to be in a square to this energy here. Hecate is crossroads. What brilliant idea might you be having that is at a crossroads for you? You might come up with a brand new idea. I know there's a lot of people out there whose jobs are changing. They're being forced out or forced into different positions. It's time to think creatively. All of this has been about thinking differently. So this is the energy that I wanted you to take for the most part of the week, because you're going to be going into that energy. We're going to be feeling that energy as we move through the week, as the sun continues to move through, and Mercury will be in retrograde. Venus is going to be basically in Gemini up until I believe it's that day that it moves, or just the late hours of the 30th. So we do have all of that going on. The other interesting thing, and I think this is something that you should be prepared for, is that we have Mars here is actually going to be entering Libra like August 6th, I think I had. Yeah, August 6th. And will be in an opposition with Saturn on the 8th. But the thing is, you have these what we call orbs. So basically, on this 31st date, we're starting to feel that energy building up. Maybe even a little bit before that. Mars and Saturn for the collective has meant this. It's a Middle Eastern issue where there's always some significant thing that takes place in the Middle East regarding the battle between Israel and Iran. So here's what I want you to be aware of coming up this week. It's different for personal charts, but if you want to know what the collective is going through, at the very beginning, about a year, a little over a year ago, we had the Saturn and Mars conjunction. During that time was the initial startup of the battle. There was the initial hostages taken, all of that. And this has continued on, and now we're in an opposition energy. Do I think that there's going to be some very significant things happening? Yes. Do I think it's going to be pretty bad? Probably. But I feel that with the other astrology that's taking place during this time, that there's going to be things that are going to, I feel like there's other countries, after something bad happens, that they're going to be stepping into the energy and say, okay, we need to get this straightened out, and we may not like working with each other, but it's important that we get this thing taken care of and get settled, right? So I want you to be aware of that collective energy. I want you to also know that anything that you have in the early degrees of anything is pretty much being aspected by something. So take note of anything that you have in the early degrees of any sign, because it will be talking to Aries, fire sign. This is at 1 degree, 1 degree. Uranus is at 0 degrees. Sedna is at 1 degree. So you have the sextile energy here, the unexpected, but things that can be helpful, right? And then you have Venus at 0 degrees, and Venus is in a square to this energy. You have Pluto at 2 degrees. Pluto's in retrograde and will be moving back. The thing is, that is still in a sextile here. It's still in a trine to Uranus. That energy will get stronger. Okay? So those are the energies that we have that are going to be coming through the next week. But I wanted you to be aware ahead of time, before the date of the 6th and the 8th come up, that we will probably see this energy playing out before the perfection happens on the 8th. Even while Mars is still in this energy of Virgo, the details. And I feel like we're talking about the fog of war. We may not know everything right away that has happened. We'll find out later, probably. Then you have Mars is moving into Libra. That is one of the reasons I think that there's going to be some kind of other nations getting involved to settle things down. I think that's what may be happening once Mars enters Libra and gets that energy there. That will then also put it in a trine to Uranus, the unexpected, and Sedna here as well. And then you have Pluto over here, this transformational energy. So Mars is going to be in a grand air trine with Pluto and Uranus and Mars. So that doesn't mean, and it's in an opposition at that same time with Saturn. Things can happen really quickly, is what I will say. Trines are usually easy flowing energy, but that doesn't mean it's always, normally it's great. And I think eventually what happens with this is going to be very beneficial, but Pluto's involved and Uranus is involved. So the whole unexpected part to this, I really can't say. I'm very uneasy about it, but I wanted you to be aware ahead of time of what is possible. And that is what I'm focusing on for this week. But I really think personally, we should be focusing on this Mercury Cazimi with the sun for us to have our energy, and the fact that Venus is entering into Cancer. So it's going to be in, it's in like an inconjunct. It's like, what does she want to do to make things feel better? I think that that's the thing that's going to be happening, is that Venus is going to be coming in, trying to get some things resolved. We do on the 12th of August have Jupiter and Venus, the two benefics, meeting. And I want you to be aware of that ahead of time, because all this energy is going to be moving. And I think that will be very helpful for us. And they'll both be on top of Sirius. So I think that is very important for us to realize that that's the kind of energy that's going on out there. We do again have the moon is in Scorpio, and that will be in a trine to Venus. So that's the energy here, and that's with Haumea is right there, and Hecate's in that energy as well. Honestly, I like that energy for the feminine. I think us with the working together, there is a square coming between Mars and Venus as part of Mars entering this Libra energy. So I think we need to be aware of that as well. That is always, I will say it's, thankfully they're in the signs that they're in. Cancer is a very loving, ancestor type based energy. And Mars in Libra has a hard time because it's opposite its home sign of Aries, and it's expected to be diplomatic. So I think between the Mars and Venus square, which requires action, there will be a call for peace, and they'll be working on trying to resolve that. That's what I see when I look at this general energy. I think you need to look at what you have for personal planets in all of this, because I think it can be very beneficial for you, especially if you have things in the water signs, because those are trine energy. And I think that when we are looking at the big changes that are coming to everyone, we should just take note that what happens to the collective is different what happens personally. And I will tell you that if you are developing yourself personally, if you are doing your work, if you are staying at a higher vibration and taking care of yourself, that helps the collective. That is very important for the collective. So I wanted you to be aware of all this energy. The other thing that I've really considered doing, and I think I probably will go ahead and get that launched eventually, let me close that out, is I want to start up a class that'll probably last for a month. It'll be once a week. So there'll be 4 classes. And so you only have to sign up for a month. It's not like forever and ever. But to take a look at what are the current things going on as far as the aspects, and then how does that affect your chart? This is kind of going to be geared for the beginner intermediate, because I know when people, they want to learn astrology, but I don't think you'd have to go to the level of learning everything that you need to know to be really an official astrologer, but you I really think everybody needs to know their own chart. And then if you have questions, you can go to an astrologer, but you will basically get a chance to look at your chart and other people's charts and see how the aspects can affect people in their personal charts. So it's going to be on Zoom. It's going to be a bit of a learning community. So I'm putting that out there because I think it's very important for everyone. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you this week. We are going to be doing a very fun live, of course, on Thursday. We will be doing on Lionsgate. We will be doing at 11 Eastern a live conversation about Lionsgate. So hopefully you can join us for that. And we're going to be putting out some different information regarding that in the future. So we will see you, and we have a lot of things coming your way that we have to offer. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you very soon. Bye.